morning, race fans, and welcome back to the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula 3 iRacing League. Always a great time to be back with our competitors, and I've got to say, as a broadcaster, I'm excited. First time bringing you the action live for the League Zero, guys. Really looking forward to it, as this is some of the most door-to-door, I should say wheel-to-wheel action you will find on the Team Goon Squad Broadcasting channel. As always, on behalf of LeagueZero.net as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, my name is James Eastbury, the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as I am looking forward to seeing what's going to happen here today at the virtual Red Bull Ring. We've got about 21, 22 drivers making their way out for qualifying, and it is guaranteed to be another exciting show as we're checking out Antonio Bianchi, the number 17 machine, making his way out. The head honcho here at the League Zero Formula 3 Series. As always, thank you as well to all of our fans, friends, and family for tuning in, supporting your favorite drivers here live at the League Zero Series. We've got Ryan Tebow, Patrick Lytle, Abby, Patrick, a bunch of folks tuning in here tonight, supporting their favorite drivers from across the world. And I've got to say, as a broadcaster, very cool to see such a diverse field of drivers. A lot of guys from all across the world, be it the States, be it Europe, be it our friends in South America. A lot of great, talented drivers making their way out. Let's see what's going to happen here in open qualifying. Because, again, these guys have a 15-minute qualifying session to decide what the starting positions will be for our feature event. The feature event will be the 26th lap. I would dare say probably the main show of the night, but then we also have a 13-lap sprint race, which always yields all sorts of excitement for these drivers. Now, we spent about the last 30, 40 minutes hanging out with the drivers in the paddock and kind of get an idea of how things are going to go tonight, how to pronounce names properly, and a lot of jokes held amongst each other, so always a great time hanging out with the League Zero family. What I've been hearing for the most part from the drivers here today is that the track is very, almost, I want to say slippery. It takes about 5 to 8 laps for the cars really to come in. These drivers are racing on equal setups, a fixed setup league, so everybody racing the same cars, same setups, and dealing with the same track conditions here today. So that lends for some very exciting racing, as we have a track temp of about 87 degrees Fahrenheit, as it's partly cloudy here at the virtual Red Bull Ring. As Brad Tritton putting it on pole, the provisional pole, number 26 machine, but Bianchi clicks off the fastest so far, a 1:27.23. Now I'm expecting as qualifying goes on, these drivers will get a little bit faster as the run progresses, and that's kind of what we see in the feature races as well here. Those longer format runs allows the guys to get a little bit more comfortable. They all practice throughout the week, but the track state can change. So they'll come out here for practice today, put down as much seat time as they possibly can. And then during that feature event, you're going to see the lap time start rapidly dropping. It's right now on the board on the top left hand side of your screen. You're seeing a bunch of 127s in practice. I want to say it was Tritton, the number 26 machine, got down to a low 1:25 out here. So let's see if Tritton can do the same. We got Ryan Tebow saying the track a little bit hot, a little bit slippery for the guys. Ryan, normally one of our usual suspects out here in the Formula 3 racing, but unfortunately iRacing pushed out a fairly substantial update here today, and several drivers from across the world having problems getting everything updated in time. I know Ryan Tebow and I believe Green as well, unable to make it out on track. So that'd be Ryan Tebow and Josh Green not able to make it out here today, but still tuning in, supporting their drivers, their friends. A lot of camaraderie here at the League Zero group as well. Guys hang out throughout the week, burn practice laps together. And then several of these drivers out on track, I'm used to saying their names in several other series we broadcast here at Team Goon Squad Broadcasting. So a very large dysfunctional group of friends and a lot of very talented racers as well. Russell Soto, he puts it on top of provisional pole, the number 50 machine, with a 1:26.81. He was about 1400ths faster than Bianchi. Let's see what Soto can do on this second lap. He's got a lot of traffic to contend with, as I believe that was King, number 28 machine, going off track there. 16 drivers have put down quality time so far. 5 drivers still trying to put down a few more. Now down to 4 drivers. Dustin Oberlo, Danilo Sparapani, Norman King, Brandon Zwan still waiting to put down times here. Sparapani, he puts it on top of the pole with a 126.51, about 1500s faster than Tritt. So as we said early on, the guys are just going to get faster and faster here today. I am intrigued. The first race we've had the pleasure of covering live for these racers. And with how much they were talking about how tough the track conditions were in practice, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. As historically, as you've seen in the tape delay broadcast we've done in the past, generally we might have a couple of incidents in the feature race. And the sprint races are all sorts of excitement because that sprint race has a top 10 inverted grid. So if you finish inside the top 10 for the feature, you will be gridded up the opposite of that. So for example, if you finish first in the feature, you'll start 10th in the sprint. It is a shorter format that does not have planned pit stops. Only a 13-lap sprint here today, where you'll see a lot of drivers absolutely sending it because only the top 8 drivers will score points here in that sprint race. As we're about halfway through qualifying, Soto clicks off a 126.28, edging out Sparapani. Let's see what Sparapani does in the number 9 machine as he makes his way to the start-finish line. He must have had a big incident that last lap. He had a 1:37. Almost 11 seconds off of his normal pace. As somebody sends it around, I wonder if that was King, number 28 machine. Yes, it was. Goes off-road, cutting the grass here today. Let's check in on Peter Redger in the all-black number 44 machine. He's currently qualified about 8th. His fastest lap time was his last time by, a 127.10. Now, I'm surprised that the drivers aren't quite getting below that 126 mark here yet, as in practice they were clicking off again close to 125s. I'm wondering if that is how long it takes for the drivers to really get comfortable and the tire wear really starts to come in. Or it could be the track conditions changing here at the Red Bull Ring. Got Josh Green tune in, saying unfortunately he can't be here today. He's out the IMS for Chris Vivas. Green, is that by chance the International Motorcycle Show, or is that something else? Redger's last time by still shows as a 127.10. I'm wondering if he had an off track that invalidated that lap time. Let's check in with John Kasai, number 3 machine. His fastest so far, a 127.18. As he will have the Dodge traffic here at Red Bull Ring. Probably won't be able to put down a flyer on this lap. As Raymond Aguilar now, he puts it on top of pole with a 126.27. We got Bagel Bandit tune in, cheering on John Kasai, the number 3 machine. Now again, I don't think Kasai is going to have a flyer on this lap, as he did have the Dodge a whole lot of traffic. He's only got about 4.5 minutes left in qualifying to improve on that 12th place position here. As Kasai's last time by was about 2.5 seconds off of his fastest pace so far. So let's see if he can put down a flyer here today. As again, we're watching John Kasai, number 3 machine, currently qualified 13th. Raymond Aguilar still sitting on top of provisional pole, with Soto ever so close behind. As Aguilar, one of those drivers that's getting faster and faster here. His last time by was another 126.27. Barely 100th of a second faster than Soto. So if these guys keep up the pace, this could really lend itself to a spectacular feature event. As we are winding down qualifying, only 3 minutes left. Thank you so much to our fans, friends, and family from across the world tune in. We notice everybody, even our tape delays, that like the videos and leave a comment supporting their favorite drivers. And as this is the first time we've covered one of the League Zero events live, let me go ahead and tell our fans at home that the drivers absolutely go back and watch these broadcasts, and they absolutely appreciate all that are tuning in and cheering them on, as it will show the chat after the race for those that watch it later on. And our drivers notice you, appreciate you, and so do I. We couldn't do this broadcasting without you guys. As I know the Mcallister family from Australia, they're all tuned in supporting Gareth Mcallister, who's out on track in the number 25 machine. I believe our lone Aussie in the series. Speaking of, let's check in on the number 25 machine. He's currently qualified 8th here today with a 126.72. His last time by, just 500ths off that best lap time with a 126.77. He will find himself about 6/10, 8/10 off of a leading pace. As speaking of that, look at Brad Tritton, clicks off a 125.91. As the tires starting to benefit him a little bit more, Tritton finding some pace. It's going to be close. I mean, if you look at the left, top left side of your screen, that'll give you an idea of just how close qualifying times are here today. We've got about 1.5 minutes left before we send them straight into our feature event. Again, the longer format 26-lap feature here today. Then we'll have a brief interview with the top 3 drivers before we head into a warm-up session, and then the wild dash of a sprint race. Let's see if Mcallister improves on a 126.72. I don't believe he did. May have had an off track that invalidated that last lap. So Mcallister's going to have to put his head down as he's now currently qualified at 9th. Now this is round 12 of the League Zero Formula 3 Series. Today, again, we're at Redbull Ring. Then we've got the Autodroma. Then we've got Mount Panorama for the season finale, which is going to be all sorts of spectacular. The absolutely tough and grueling mountain course. We've got Nada tune in, cheering on Sparapani, and Fajeda in the number 77 machine. A couple of the drivers we talked to before the broadcast, so I would help butcher their names less. Always great seeing those guys get the support they need from across the world. As qualifying comes to an end here today, it's going to be Brad Tritton on top of pole. As let's get ready to take it to tonight's grid, and we're going to have all sorts of excitement here today as we get our drivers slowly gridded up. And let's run it through tonight's grid for the feature event. Starting on pole, Brad Tritton in the number 26 machine. Brandon Zwan in 96 starting 2nd. Raymond Aguilar in the 83 starting 3rd. Russell Soto in the 50 starting 4th. Antonio Bianchi starting 5th in the number 17. Danilo Sparapani in the number 9 machine starting 6th. Nick Peterson in the 24 starting 7th. Chase Small starting 8th in the number 5. Gareth Mcallister, the world-famous Aussie, starting 9th in the 25. Dustin Oberlo starting 10th. You've got John Kasai starting 11th in number 3. Hunter Graves starting 12th here today. Then we've got Jared Ziegler, the kind of the best all-around driver we know of. He races ovals, he races road, he does it all. He'll be starting 13th in the 57. Peter Redger in the 44 starting 14th. Xavier Zanave in the 12 starting 15th. Daniel Vladetek in the 48 machine starting 16th. Matt Foster in the 32 starting 17th. Bruno Fajeda in the number 77 machine starting 18th. Norman King in the 28 starting 19th. Levi Opitz in the 7 starting 20th. And then Anthony Asiati in the number 23 machine. He'll be starting 21st on the grid. And I believe, yes, that will round out our grid here today as we get our drivers out onto the track. And we're going to wait for the lights to spark here at the Red Bull Ring for the feature event. It's 26 laps here at the Red Bull Ring. Expecting about a 37-minute main event. And I can go ahead and promise you, I believe we're going to be using that replay button a little bit here today, as we're still waiting for Trenton, Aguilar, Bianchi, Sparapani, Small, and a whole host of others to get out on track. As we just got a heads up from race control, they set the grid time to 4 minutes here today. That way to get our drivers prepped for interviews and kind of give them an idea of what the running order is going to be for tonight's event. We've got Laura tuning in, cheering on Nick Peterson. Peterson qualified 7th in the open qualifying in the number 24 machine. Expecting great things from him. As I am extremely excited. The first time we've had the pleasure of calling the races live here with the League Zero family. As we wait for the grid to count down, we still got Chase Small, Jared Ziegler, Norman King waiting to get out on track. I don't believe we'll have anybody starting from pit lane. That it would be fairly uncommon for these guys. As pretty soon you will start to hear the engines whine of these Formula 3 machines. And then for the first time live this season, we're going to get things going, and it is going to be all sorts of exciting. As I believe we should be getting ready to start this race any second now. Yes, we are. The lights will come on here at the Red Bull Ring, and then we're going to send our drivers out and about. Away they go. It's Brad Tritton and Brandon Zwan at the front, and just like that, things are going to get going. As it looks like everybody makes it off the grid without any problems or woes. Let's keep an eye going into turn 1 as Brad Tritton's going to lead the field, and Tritton bends it in turn 1. Your race leader and pole setter, Brad Tritton, number 26 machine, absolutely sent it entirely too deep in turn 1. And he will rapidly fall back the running order to about 19th place. Brandon Zwan will take over the race lead, but for how long as Aguilar goes side by side? Aguilar gets edged off track ever so slightly. That may allow Russell Soto to make through, and they're going through the grass and picking moves wherever they can. We have a couple crashes early on. It shows as Ziegler and Fajeda both involved in incidents. Let's see if we can take a quick look at that. But it's going to be tough to find a break in the action, as now Aguilar and Soto will go side by side. Two dominant drivers that have been very, very fast all season long. Vladetek also going off track. Everybody having problems early on here at the Red Bull Ring. My, oh my, the excitement starts early, my friends. Let's try and get a look at a couple of the crashes while we have the time. The first one is going to be Fajeda in the number 77 machine involved in an early incident. Let's take a look and see where things go wrong. Doesn't look like things really went wrong. Check one more angle and see what happened to Ziegler and I believe Trent. You're watching Jared Ziegler, the number 57 machine, see what problems he may have had. And just involved in a lockup. And no, I think he's lost his front wing early on tonight. So up front, it's still Brandon Zwan. He's about 8 tenths ahead of Raymond Aguilar. Aguilar has Soto about 6 tenths behind him. As the field starts to get a little bit single file, Brad Tritton has retired from this feature event in the number 26 machine as he takes a tow back to pit road. If this is your first time tuning in to support your League Zero drivers, first of all, thank you. The second thing that must be explained to everybody at home is if you have crashed your vehicle so bad that you cannot complete a lap and return back to pit road on your own power, you will be unallowed to rejoin the racing surface. Antonio Bianchi, he has a bit of an off track as well as he is running 4th in the number 17 machine. As Bianchi is going to have a whole lot of company with both Nick Peterson and Danilo Sparapani right on his tail. All these drivers just inside the top 6, about 1.92 seconds back. You've got Gareth Mcallister in the number 25 machine. He's up 2 spots here today. Let's look at this. Antonio Bianchi, he is going to get passed by both Sparapani and Peterson here and follow along. As you go on board with Nick Peterson, he is going to be side by side with Sparapani. Let's see who's going to commit. No, Peterson backs out, a wise choice, not wanting to get tied up in any incidents early on. Again, this is a 26 lap or 45-minute feature event, so it's got to be a game of both patience and attrition. Right now, your race leader, Brandon Zwan, the number 96, he's got the fastest lap of the race with a 127 flat. Now, in practice, we saw mid to low 125s. In qualifying, we saw, for the most part, a couple of high 25s and mostly low 126s. As you were watching the battle for 4th between Peterson and Sparapani. Cycle back up front. It appears that Aguilar still has Russell Soto hot on his tail as these two get ready to battle for a second, or they may work together for a few laps to try and whittle away at that 1.8 second gap that Brandon Zwan, your race leader, currently has on Aguilar and Soto. As things appear to have calmed down slightly. As no, Peterson and Sparapani still battling hard here. Antonio Bianchi watching this battle for 4th unfold in front of him, saying, you know what, you guys can push. I'm going to watch and see if anybody wads their machines up a little bit early. As they still go side by side in the battle for 4th. Now you've got Peterson on the inside, Sparapani on the outside. If you cycle the camera back just ever so slightly, Gareth Mcallister, Chase Small also going side by side. Mcallister, the world famous Aussie, holding on to the inside line as long as he can, but Chase Small trying to make moves here. Mcallister's up 2 spots so far, but having to defend heavily against Small. Small looking for any opening he can through the number 25, the bright yellow, piloted by Mcallister. As great racing all across the circuit here. As Mcallister and Small still going side by side. Dustin Oberlo also looking for a way through, seeing what he can find. Mcallister will hold on to it for a little bit longer back up front. Aguilar and Soto still nose to tail, still about 2.10 seconds back from your race leader, Brandon Zwan, number 96 machine. Showing great pace early on into tonight's event. And another battle, you've got Antonio Bianchi, you've got Nick Peterson and Sparapani all going 3 wide as Bianchi holds on to the inside line. He'll pick up the spot from Sparapani. Nick Peterson makes it 3 wide around the outside. And these guys will maybe take a moment and calm down ever so slightly. Great racing all across the track. Doesn't matter if you're battling for a podium or a top 15. Everybody doing a fantastic job out here, doing their best to hold on to it at the absolute limit. As we still have 19 drivers on the lead lap. Daniel Vladetic did make it back out on circuit as Brad Tritton has retired from this feature event. And now we're watching to see if Bianchi can make a move on Peterson and work that number 17 machine up further inside the top 5. As here comes Nick Peterson. He's going to keep defending, but Bianchi's going to try and make something happen around the outside. Bianchi puts himself up into 4th. He will be about 4 seconds back from a podium spot as Aguilar and Soto still working strong together. They're still about 2.4 seconds back from your race leader, Brandon Zwan, who is absolutely checked out here. But the most important thing to remember for these longer format races is it can be an event of attrition. Who makes the least amount of mistakes over the duration of the main event, the feature event here today at League Zero? Bianchi doing a great job. Let's see if he's going to be able to catch up to Soto. He gained about a 10th on the 3rd place driver of the number 50 machine that last lap. And these guys have a long time to make it happen. Again, this is a one-stop scheduled race, barring any off-track excursions that can possibly damage these machines. Sparapani running 6th on track. He's about 4/10 right behind Nick Peterson. Peterson trying to catch back up to Bianchi. Absolutely fantastic racing all across the track here today. Still about 19 laps left to go for these guys. As Brandon Zwan clicks off the fastest lap of the race with a 1:26.08, still finding pace as this run progresses. And now Sparapani, he's going to look to the outside of Peterson to see if he can make a move. Peterson holds on the inside line. Doesn't appear that Sparapani had the drive out of the corner that he needed there. And we may have another incident as Hunter Graves has absolutely sent it and bent it. He will take a most likely a tow back to pit road. Let's see what happens to the number 37 machine, the baby blue, and where it all went wrong. I almost wonder if he had a hardware malfunction as he drilled the wall. It didn't appear that he slowed down much, if at all. But a very odd crash. We're going to check back in on your race leader, Brandon Zwan. He is now about 2.8 seconds ahead of the second pack of drivers. You can see Aguilar and Soto out the top right of your screen, as he has consistently been running about 2/10 faster than the competition here, finding some pace and absolutely really putting it down. As Josh Green tells us from the side of pit road that you may have seen Hunter Graves with a mechanical. Jared Ziegler comes down pit road, number 57 machine, maybe getting his car worked on. Other notable battles out on track. Bruno Fajeda, he is quickly catching up to Matt Foster in the number 32 machine. This is the battle for 13th. As we said earlier, there's always great racing all across the circuit. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're out on track. This field is so packed. And honestly, this is probably one of the smaller fields here today. Only 21 drivers. I think that iRacing update may have affected that for folks. As we watch Fajeda try and make a move on Foster, still within 4 tenths here. Now both Foster and Fajeda are up 4 spots each from their original starting positions. As Jared Ziegler make his way back out of pit road, hopefully with a freshly repaired race car, getting everything bent back straight, and hopefully not too much aero damage on that machine that will affect him over the long run. Xavier Zanave, he has a whole lot of company as here comes Peter Redger, the number 44 machine, to battle for 11th. Now both these drivers trying to put down some laps, get themselves inside the top 10, as it again, the sprint race features a reverse grid of the top 10 finishers of the feature event. So if Zanave or Redger can get by Dustin Oberlo and score that 10th place spot, that means they will start up front for the action-packed sprint race. And with half the laps, that means less time you have to worry about defending and more opportunity to score some much-needed points as this season continues on. And we have another crash. Let's see, Anthony Asianati shows within some sort of problem. Let's take a quick look, see what may have happened to the number 23 machine. It appears, judging by the amount of drivers around it, is most likely a solo car incident. And he's just going to get that back end ever so slightly loose, brings it to a safe stop, gets it relaunched in the right direction. Chase Small, he's about 8 tenths ahead of John Kasai, number 3 machine, and still trying to catch up to Mcallister. Mcallister in 7th place. He's about 1.2 seconds ahead of the pilot of the number 5 machine, Chase Small. As the lap times are starting to drop here at Red Bull Ring. That last time by, Brandon Zwan with a 125.8. Aguilar also getting to the 125, just ever so slightly, the 125.99. As I believe Levi Opitz has a problem, showing as an incident. We're going to take one quick look, see what may have happened to Opitz. Seen a lot of solo car incidents here today. Drivers get maybe a little bit too much on the brake or on the throttle just ever so slightly. And yes, exact same spot, just sends it spinning around. As we go on board with our favorite Aussie, Gareth Mcallister, the number 25 machine, currently 7th on track. His last time by a 126.53. That is his fastest lap of the race so far. And this will give you an idea of how much speed, maybe not in that particular instance, as Mcallister pushes it wide out of turn 1, but gives you an idea of just how fast these drivers are making their way around the track. These Formula 3 cars are considered a feeder series to the elite F1 drivers, but as someone who has just ever so slightly a bit of seat time in these things, you have to ride the absolute ragged edge to bring home the fastest laps possible. As that is on board with Mcallister, we're going to take it now on board with Brandon Zwan, the number 96 machine, who has the fastest lap of the race with a 125.8. His last time by a 125.88. So still hovering around that high 21 minute and 25 second mark. As we're going to leave the camera on board. As Ryan Tebow saying, it's much more challenging than our viewers may think, and I've got to say he's spot on there. As it is such a fine line between record-setting lap times, as Brandon Zwan just clicks off with a 125.65. Meanwhile, Aguilar, the number 83 machine, comes in for his one stop of the race on lap 12. Chase Small also coming down pit lane. We've got Blaze Andrich joining us here. He's cheering on Gareth Mcallister, the number 25 machine. And we just got word from the pit crew of Hunter Graves, the number 37 machine. his VR system actually shut down in the middle of the race, and that explained the whiskey throttle we saw him do into the wall. So we were correct in our assumptions. A major hardware failure for the number 37 machine. As now the question is, when is Brandon Zwan, Russell Soto, Antonio Bianchi, your current top three, going to come down pit road? I'm a little bit surprised to see the early stop from Aguilar. Aguilar in and out of his pit stall in 4.4 seconds. A very quick top off of fuel to get back out there. Now these guys will double stint their tires, barring any sort of spin arounds or lockups that would overly abuse the tires. As Zwan clicks off a 125.91 his last time by. As we have a three-car battle for 8th shaping up. Dustin Oberlo, Peter Redger, and then Xavier Zanave will come down pit road. That'll allow Oberlo to pick up another spot into 8th place. Peter Redger slots up to 9th, and I believe it's going to be Raymond Aguilar who takes over the 10th place spot after he undercut the field with his lap 11 pit stop. As it appears now the field slightly getting stretched out as Peter Redger trying to gain another spot here before his pit stop. And we may have another crash. And it is going to be your race leader, Brandon Zwan, has sent it. Russell Soto will come by and retake the race lead. Let's get a quick replay and see what happened to the number 96 machine. What caused him to throw quite a comfortable lead away? Looks like just dipped those inside wheels on the curbing and sent himself careening around. Almost a perfect 360 as he gets it pointed back in the right direction. But that will allow Aguilar to get through uncontested. So now Brandon Zwan will find himself for the first time about 3/4 of a second back from Soto, the number 50 machine. Now Zwan does have the pace. His fastest lap of the race was about 3 to 4 tenths faster than Soto has been able to click off. But we mentioned this early on the broadcast that it can be a battle of attrition. And that is what we are seeing as Brandon Zwan makes a solo car mistake. As everyone in agreement, it's a spectacular save. As far as Formula 3 crashes go, that's about as good as it can get, because if you find yourself in contact with an outside wall or tire barrier, these cars explode in spectacular fashion. So how is this going to affect the battle for the lead? Soto and Zwan may slow each other down here, battling for the lead. You have to keep an eye on Raymond Aguilar, the number 10 or the number 83 machine, currently 10th on track. He is one of the faster drivers that went for that undercut. So where will he be out on track after Soto and Zwan take their pit stop? Now from cone to cone, Aguilar took about 35 seconds on pit lane. He is about 23 seconds back from Soto and Zwan. So in theory, that should put him about 10 to 12 seconds ahead of Soto and Zwan after they complete their green flag pit stops. As again, you're watching the battle for the lead between Russell Soto, Brandon Zwan, both driving around within a half second of each other, and both of these drivers will still have to complete one stop here today to top off these Formula 3 machines to make it to the end of the feature event. Other notable battles, it appears That Sparapani is now within striking distance of Nick Peterson, number 24 machine. Everyone doing a great job here today, keeping it clean and for the most part pointing in the right direction. Haven't seen many major incidents. As we did check our broadcasting fuel calculator, we were kind of wondering if Aguilar can make it to the end on fuel, and it appears he can. As now the pit stops start to continue back up front though. Brandon Zwan, Russell Soto going side by side, battling hard for the lead. Soto takes over the lead once more from Brandon Zwan, who again had that single car spin just a few laps prior. So Zwan looking to try and get around Soto so he can get back to hot lapping that last time by. Both drivers clicking off about mid 120 minute 26 second lap times. And you've got to wonder, is this going to slow down the pace to affect how the leaders will be battling after they complete their pit stops? Brandon Zwan looking for any way by around the number 50 machine of Russell Soto. And he is still aggressively looking for a way around Soto. He's looking around the inside. He's looking around the outside. He's going to dive it up deep against the number 50 machine, but will Soto have the drive out of the corner to try and challenge back as they go nose to tail down the hill? Soto's not going to allow him to get away that easy, as now Soto's going to look to the inside line against the number 96 of Brandon Zwan, and oh, how much closer can you get? Soto takes over the race lead once more. And now Brandon Zwan's going to fire back. Soto still trying to make something happen as they go side by side once more. And as these drivers are battling, they have slowed down their pace over a second of a lap as their last time by. Both drivers clicking off low 1 minute 27 second lap times. In the case of Brandon Zwan, that is almost 2 seconds off the pace as Zwan is going to make a great life choice here. Dive it down pit road, realizing he is spending entirely too much time battling with Soto. As Brandon Zwan and Antonio Bianchi both come down pit road, Sparapani, Peterson opting to stay out, now taking up over second and third. Great racing all across the track here today. Dustin Oberlo also comes down pit road in the number 42 machine. Now, where is Raymond Aguilar going to come out here? He will come out in front of Brandon Zwan, who is, for the most part, I believe what I'd comfortably saying the fastest car on track, at least by fastest lap times go. Aguilar will come out about 3.5 seconds ahead of Brandon Zwan. As Soto, you're still race leader. Your top 6 drivers have not boxed yet. Going to stretch it out as long as they possibly can, possibly so they can come out with a lighter fuel load to make it till the end. Now, I want to say that the fuel stop is maybe more mandatory from a rulebook perspective than it is a fuel needs perspective. Somebody here can correct me if I'm wrong. As Soto's still clicking off. His lap time, last time by was a 1 minute 26.13. And now Sparapani seems to be getting some more time here. He's about 3.2 seconds back from your race leader, Soto. But again, now it is 4 drivers that have not boxed yet. Soto, Sparapani, Mcallister, and Kasai, your top 4. Gonna stretch this fuel round out as long as they possibly can. And now Soto will dive down pit road. Does Sparapani follow suit? No, he's going to get a lap led here in the feature event. Sparapani opts to stay out. What does Mcallister, the number 25 machine, do? He will come down pit road, as well as John Kasai, number 3 machine. So Sparapani really stretching that fuel window out here. Going to be interesting. Keep an eye on his lap time to see if he slows the pace down. So Raymond Aguilar, Brendan Zwan, Antonio Bianchi all move up to 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So that should put Aguilar as your race leader with quite the gamble on an undercut here today as far as pit strategy. As this is going to be very interesting to see what happens. Brandon Zwan, Raymond Aguilar will be separated by about 2 seconds. Sparapani, your race leader, still has yet to box here today at the Red Bull Ring. And we've got a big incident developing. Peter Redger has all sorts of car parts missing. I believe he got into it with Dustin Orbello. He's going to take a tow back to pit road. We're going to try and get the replay pulled up for you and see just what happened to the number 44 of Peter Redger. Where does things go wrong? Because Dustin Orbello also shows involved in this incident. I'm not sure if it was the same incident or not, or just circumstance as far as timing goes. Let's see what happened here to Redger. A single car spin. Does Orbello get into him? And yes, absolutely clips the back of the number 44 machine. Just enough, almost a delayed wound there. The wing falls off. And Redger will have to return back to pit road after nearly getting into traffic. Back up front, it's still Raymond Aguilar taking over the lead once more. After Sparapani came in a lap 20, so now it's Aguilar, Zwan, and Bianchi, your top 3. Sparapani still 4th on track. Nick Peterson rounds out our top 5. Jared Ziegler back in pit road after a long time. Now, we had a question. Did Russell Soto possibly botch his pit stop? From up here in the booth, it sure seems that way. He was in his box for 44 seconds. That may be indicative of a speeding penalty on pit road. Possibly took tires for a mistake. But now he has all but thrown away the race as he'll be about 42 seconds behind your race leader, Raymond Aguilar. Brandon Zwan is coming fast for Raymond Aguilar. He's been one of the dominant cars here today with the fastest lap of the race. Antonio Bianchi in 3rd. He's looking for a great finish as well in the first live broadcasted event. He wants to hold on to it for all he's got as here comes the battle for the lead. Raymond Aguilar on the inside. Brandon Zwan sends it spinning around. Bianchi pushes to the outside wall. Bianchi takes contact as well. Look at the back left wheel. Bianchi has heavy damage. Brandon Zwan just set the fastest lap of the race, but he may be heavily wounded in the number 96 machine. Just like that, the drivers have thrown it away. Aguilar out front. He has a commanding 3.5 second lead over Sparapani. Bianchi, I can't tell if he's got suspension damage or not. Yes, he does, as he has a solo car incident. He is going to try and limp it back as far as he can. That will allow Nick Peterson to take over the third place spot, number 24 machine. Brennan Zwan in the 96 has fallen back to fourth. Does Zwan have the time? Does he have the car to get back into podium contention? Things are getting all sorts of wild here in the closing laps of the feature event. This isn't even the sprint race where it's kind of expected for these guys to push it a little bit hard, a little bit more aggressive. Zwan using every inch of track surface he can, and then a couple more feet to get the momentum. What a race here tonight for our first live called action-packed League Zero Formula 3 series. This is absolutely wild. Bianchi comes back down pit road, as well as Vladitic, both getting repairs done. As Nick Peterson's going to have a whole lot of company from the number 96, who is charging hard to get back into podium contention. Aguilar about 6.8 seconds ahead of Peterson at this moment. If gap car, as the kids say. And then Brennan Zwan, no, that's Nick Peterson, I believe, had a big blink. Well, we had somebody ask us earlier in the broadcast, what's a sign that these drivers are losing connection? That is a great sign right there. And that is going to allow Brennan Zwan to take over the inside line from Peterson. Peterson holds on to it for a little while longer. But Zwan, a man on a mission. As it stands, it's Aguilar, Sparapani, Peterson, Zwan, Mcallister, our top five late into the feature event. As we are watching the heated battle for the third place spot. And as a reminder to our fans at home, it is a top 10 inverted grid. So Russell Soto, despite the bobble on pit road or possible speeding penalty, we'll have to get a word from him after the race. But he is still looking salvageable for the sprint race. If he finishes 10th, he will start on the first spot in the sprint race. Brennan Zwan picks up the spot from Peterson with an aggressive move to the inside line. That has allowed Aguilar to stretch his legs. An 8.6 second gap over Brennan Zwan. Now Zwan does have some clean track, but is Nick Peterson going to slow the pace of the number 96 machine and try and get that podium contention back? We've seen some aggressive, if not possibly over-aggressive moves late into today's race. Is Peterson going to lick the stamp and send it to try and get on the box? Or is Zwan, who again the fastest lap time driver of today's feature event, going to be able to stretch his legs slightly with a clean track ahead of him? He's about 4/10 ahead of Peterson. Meanwhile, about 7 seconds back, we've got Gareth Mcallister rounding out the top five here, having quite the run, possibly a career best for Mcallister. Now, unfortunately, Brennan Zwan, I don't think will have much of an opportunity here to catch up to Sparapani, who's about 4.5 seconds ahead of the number 96 of Zwan. As it looks like Zwan has ever so slight of a bobble. Brennan Zwan has had the pace, just unfortunately not quite able to string together the laps he wanted here today, finding himself in several incidents as Peterson pushes off track, maybe pushing a little bit harder than number 24 machine to catch back up to Zwan. The drivers may have a little bit of red mist in their eyes as the closing laps, everybody trying to put off some record-breaking lap times here. Aguilar still comfortably out front, one of the best races he's had of the season, staying in front, in charge, and making a very minimal amount of mistakes. Now our current cleanest and fastest driver will be John Kasai in the number 3 machine. He has 0 off track so far here today. Hopefully the old commentator's curse doesn't get him with that one. As the white flag flies for Raymond Aguilar, your race leader, the number 83 machine. He may have traffic to contend with here today as we've got 11 drivers still on the lead lap for the feature event. As Aguilar will come up on traffic, that's going to be Bianchi, the number 17 machine, that will yield the preferred line to your race leader, Raymond Aguilar. Aguilar still about 3.2 seconds ahead of Sparapani, who in his own right having a great race here today, really putting the power down and running a very consistent race. But we've got less than half a lap left to go before Aguilar can possibly bring home another win here for the League Zero Formula Series. Sparapani finding a whole lot of time. That may be due to Aguilar having to be the first driver to navigate traffic, as you just see the bright purple machine of Sparapani show up on the right hand of your screen, but he will not have enough laps left in this feature event to battle for the lead. My oh my, what a race here today at the Redbull Ring, as the checkered flag will fly for Raymond Aguilar, picking up another win here in the number 83 machine, as it will be Sparapani second, and then Brandon Zwan, who had a roller coaster of a night, he will bring home third here today. Nick Peterson, Gareth Mcallister will round out our top 5. As Raymond Aguilar is going to burn it down in style in the number 83 machine, or at least he hinted at it. A little baby burnout from Aguilar. As we're going to try and get our drivers up into the waiting room. And stick around here tonight. So this is just the feature warm-up, the longer format, 26 laps. We're going to interview our top 3 drivers, and then we are going to get the party started for the Mad Dash 13-lap sprint race and an inverted top 10 grid, as we're going to start getting drivers up into the waiting room for their first live podium interviews of the season. Up first, we got Brandon Zwan in the number 96 machine. Brandon, you put down some of the fastest laps of the race. It just seemed the luck didn't fall your way in the number 96 machine. What do you think attributed to the rough night here today? Was it the traffic? Was it just pushing too hard? What did you see from your point of view?
Yeah, it's just a tricky track, honestly. I think there was a lot of wrecks, or at least spins. I think I just pushed it too hard, trying to do what you should never do, you know, in the lead with a few seconds, and I was still playing with new lines through certain corners and just happened to spin. And then had one chance to take back the lead from Ray after the pit cycle and just couldn't hold on the outside of T1. It's just too slippery out there. Yeah, I think overall just a little too aggressive, but still nice that I could pull a P3 out of it.
Now, Brandon, the final question I have for you, my friend, you're going to be starting a little bit further down the running order after putting down some hot laps. Do you have any strategy to survive the opening laps of the sprint race, or is it just send it and hope things go well?
Send it and hope there's not a wreck in front of me. But yeah, no, just back off the throttle a bit, and hopefully I can avoid any messes.
Well, Brandon, a great time talking to you for the first time, our live interviews of the season. I know I'm excited. Your fans are at home. You've got Tom cheering you on, saying some nice comments as well. Before I let you sign off and get ready for the sprint race, who would you like to give a shout out to that's cheering you on this season?
Shout out to Matt Casey. Quit the league, but I know he's still watching.
Well, that was very. Is that it, Brandon?
That's about it.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you for your time,
Maybe
man.
my boss, if he tunes in.
Well, congratulations on a podium, my friend. Hope to see you up here for the duration of the event as well as for the sprint race coming up.
All right, thanks.
That was Brandon Zwan finishing third in the feature event. Now we've got Danilo Sparapani and the number 9 machine bringing home a hard-fought second. Danilo, how tough was it out there at the Red Bull Ring?
Hey, James. Maybe not the toughest one because I had like my Christmas gift a little bit early. Brendan and Antonio just had a bit of a scuffle there, and yeah, I got the second place.
Now, Danilo, it seems like that was a little bit more exciting than we're used to in the feature events, almost as if it was a sprint race. Do you think the sprint race will be more violent, or will it be a little bit smoother for all of our drivers?
It's always violent, man. It's always violent. I can never complete a sprint race, so yeah, let's see if I can finish this one.
Well, no pressure. We'll make sure we have the camera pointed on you as we get ready to grid up for that event. Danilo, the first time on the live podium of the season, it's got to feel good bringing home a second in the feature event. Who would you like to give a shout out to that's cheering you on throughout the duration of this series?
Oh, all the guys from Fundão Racing Team watching. My buddy Felipe, my wife Livia, everybody.
Well, Danilo, congratulations, my friend. It's been a great time talking to you both before the broadcast and for the first time having you on the podium for one of the live shows. I'm truly enjoying it. We're going to wish you best of luck, and we'll let you get back out there and get prepared for the sprint race.
Cool. Have a good one, guy.
You as well, my friend. And up next, the man of the hour, Raymond Aguilar, number 83 machine, bringing it home in the top spot. Raymond, what was the trick to surviving that feature event that saw so many good drivers having to retire early?
Trying to stay calm and trying not to spin, man. This track's slick tonight.
Now, Raymond, again, we all race on I say we, everybody here at League Zero races on the same fixed setup. The track temps are always kind of throwing a curveball. What do you think made the track a little bit more difficult here for you today?
I think it just went up above that 86-degree mark. When it gets above 86 degrees, it seems to change the track dynamically.
And Raymond, we've seen you had great success throughout the season when you can survive some of the bloodbaths. Do you have a strategy going into the sprint race here today after seeing how many good drivers were either over-aggressive or maybe slid off the track during the feature event?
Yeah, I'm going to try to be inside in the first corner. You don't want to be on the outside because everybody's going to push out there, I think. I think that's the move, and then initially, just trying to get a good start, man. These Hankook tires.
I guess, Raymond, my final question for you tonight, during our first live broadcast of sprint race, are you expecting to see the pace car come out here today?
No, we're getting used to the point where everybody's pretty clean in this league and everybody respects each other, so we don't need it that often, fortunately, but it always mixes things up when we do, and so love to see it if we do, especially if I'm not towards the front.
Well, Raymond, hopefully you get up towards the front and avoid well, actually, I mean, you'll be starting 10th, so that'll be exciting to watch. We'll make sure we have the camera focused on you. So hopefully you're able to survive this sprint race, bring home some more points. It's been great watching you all season. Congratulations on your first win for one of the live broadcasted shows. And do you have any fans, friends, family, sponsors you'd like to give a shout out to? Because if so, the floor is all yours, my friend.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Hankook Tires, my beautiful wife, for making sure I've got the time and resources to do this. And little Debbie for keeping me going, man. That's the only way you can stay in these races. And you sit here so long, you got to have something going on there.
Now, which is the favorite Little Debbie out of the number 83 camp?
I generally go for the brownies, but I think the zebra cakes have been slapping lately.
Well, Raymond, those are both terrible choices, but you're a fantastic driver, so we can't argue with the strategy out of you or your crew. Congratulations again on a great win, and hope to see you do well in the sprint race.
All right. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you, Raymond. And that, my friends, is going to do it for the feature event. As now we get ready to go out for the warm-up. We've got drivers out on track. They've got about 4 minutes left in this session to get down a little bit faster lap times, a little bit more seat time before we go into quite the mad dash of the sprint race. As you're watching Peter Redger, the number 44 machine, go out on track, you've also got Russell Soto making his way around. Let us know in the chat, what do you think is going to happen here during the sprint race? Are we going to see some good, clean racing, or is it going to be a bit of a bloodbath for our drivers? As we have put a poll up in the YouTube chat for our fans, family, and possibly even some of the drivers that are tuning in. right now it's 50-50 clean racing, and oh, they're going to crash the 2 options of the night. And if you have predictions on who's going to win in this sprint race, let us know as well. I am very interested to see what we're going to see here today. I think fans and broadcasters can all agree it's going to come down to maybe who can keep their car the cleanest. As again, these Formula 3 machines do not bode well to bumping and grinding or wheel-to-wheel contact. They explode into little tiny pieces if you make contact with your competitors. As we have about 2 minutes left in this warm-up session. We've got Josh Green. He's betting on Soto if he can lead out of T1. As we're getting an update from our fans that Sparapani may also go by Pepperoni. Might have to manually update his nickname here in the live timing and broadcast software. So right now, it looks like the fan favorite for this one could be Soto. Kasai also getting a whole lot of love from the fans. Sparapani having all sorts of fans and friends tune in. He's got Andre here cheering him on. As not a lot of drivers have put down times here in the warm-up. Appears only about 4 drivers have put down times. Soto, Redger, Graves, and Zanave all putting down times. For the most part, the rest of the grid just hanging out, maybe enjoying a snack, possibly some Little Debbie's, as you heard from previous race leader Aguilar. As we've got about 20 seconds left in this warm-up race. The grid has already been set. Again, it is a top 10 inverted grid for the sprint race, which is going to be a Mad Dash 13-lap event. As Aguilar, your previous race leader, winner I should say, will be starting 10th on the grid. As we get ready to send them out for the final time here tonight. Russell Soto will be starting on pole after that inverted top 10. It's Russell Soto starting first, Dustin Oberlo starting second. Xavier Zanave will be third on the grid. John Kasai starting fourth. Chase Small starting fifth. Gareth Mcallister, the world-famous Australian, starting sixth. Nick Peterson starting seventh. Brandon Zwan starting eighth. Danilo Sparapani starting ninth. Raymond Aguilar, your previous feature race winner, will be starting 10th. Antonio Bianchi starting 11th. Matt Foster starting 12th here on the grid. Then you've got Jared Ziegler starting 13th. Daniel Vladetic starting 14th. Anthony Astinazzi starting 15th. Norman King starting 16th. Bruno Fajeda starting 17th. Peter Redger starting 18th. Levi Opitz 19th. Hunter Graves starting 20th. And Brad Tritton starting 21st to round out our grid. Let's get ready to send them back out for the final time of the night. A Mad Dash sprint race, only 13 laps. And the lights go off and away they go. Who's going to make it through turn 1 clean, or are we going to see a bloodbath here? As Soto, Oberlo, Kasai all going 3 wide early on into the front. It looks to be relatively painless for our drivers, as it looks like an absolute parking lot towards the back, but everybody gets through T1 nice and clean. Soto takes over the race lead as he goes side by side with Oberlo. Oberlo, though, has the inside line, pushes wide. He's going to go 2 wide, allowing Soto to take over the race lead. John Kasai, he's still holding on to fourth here today. It looked like he had a move around Tsunave, but Tsunave was able to pick up the second place. Chase Small, John Kasai go side by side as well. And here comes Sparapani in the bright purple machine. He's up 3 spots early on as we've got carnage and heartbreak. I think that may have been Aguilar. Is Aguilar going to be retired here? So let's watch the replay. Aguilar, number 83 machine, gets into it with Bianchi and gets absolutely obliterated by, I believe that was the number 57 of Jared Ziegler, also involved in that one. And yes, Aguilar is going to have a heartbreak of a night here. Aguilar will try and limp it back to pit road, but he is looking into a rough spot as he is currently 19th on track. As your current running order is Soto, Zanave, Oberlo, Kasai, and Sparapani. Your top 5, Nick Peterson takes over the spot from Sparapani. As everyone's setting not entirely quick lap times as they have been battling hard, unable to get their noses clean and make up any big ground. As now you're watching the battle for third unfold between Oberlo and Kasai. Oberlo goes wide once more. That's going to allow Kasai to take over the third place spot. But he's got to be careful as he's got Oberlo, Peterson, Zwan all charging hard here. As look at the side-by-side action, there's no way this ends well for anybody. As that is the same spot that you saw Bianchi, Ziegler. Oh no, they're just as we call it. Was that Oberlo or was that Asianati? It's hard to tell that had that moment. As I believe that was Oberlo, excuse me, having a rough go, holding on to it. Zanave, he had a brief off track as well. That's going to allow John Kasai, the number 3 machine, in within striking distance of the number 12. Oh! Kasai gets pushed far off track. He will take over the position from Zanave. Brandon Zwan also sneaking through to take over the third place spot. Everybody battling extremely hard here, trying to pick up a few more spots. Only the top 8 positions scoring points. Antonio Bianchi, number 17 machine, currently on the bubble. As here comes Brennan Duwan trying to get around John Kasai's number 3 machine. He'll have the inside line. Kasai will yield the position, not trying to throw away his night early on in this short sprint race. Duwan, he's going to be about 2.9 seconds back from your race leader, Russell Soto. Matt Foster involved in an incident as well. As here comes Duwan on the inside. John Kasai is going to try and answer. Going possibly for the over-under move, not quite able to get the drive out of the corner that he was looking for. And we've got more crashes going on as Anthony Asianati and Matt Foster both showing involved in an incident. Let's see what happened to the number 23. If he possibly spins and then gets collected. And yes, that is the case. As he will have to wait patiently to rejoin the surface as all the drivers make their way around, not trying to get a penalty for an unsafe entry. Brandon Duwan has put about a 1.2 second gap between himself and John Kasai. Kasai is going to have pressure from Peterson, the number 24 machine. As right now, your race leader, he's about 2.5 seconds ahead of Brandon Zwan. Zwan does have the fastest lap of the race with a 126.88. And this is where the number 96 machine can be absolutely deadly, as he's got a fair amount of clean air in front of him. And that will allow him to put down those trademark hot laps. He's only got 9 laps left to make something happen. We're going to pull up the track temp for our viewers at home, so you can see what the weather is on the right side of your screen. It appears to be about the same track temp, about 86 degrees. So a little hot and extra greasy for our drivers. Other notable battles out on track. Nick Peterson putting the pressure back on John Kasai. As we pull up the timing delta on the left side of our screen, that's going to compare Nick Peterson from John Kasai. Kasai holding on strong for a third place. Now, I've got to give Kasai credit as well. We talked to him, I believe it was late last week, and he said he believes he may have gotten his internet problems under control. But now he's going to have quick pressure as here comes Peterson on the inside, number 24 machine, to take over the third place spot. Peterson gets a little bit extra support from that curbing. That'll slow down his drive out of T1. Does Kasai try and answer on the outside line? It appears he's going to make it happen as they go side by side into the brief left-hander. Now Peterson will not be able to hold the line as Kasai pushes wide across the curbing. That will allow Peterson to once again take over the third place spot. Aguilar, your previous race leader, he comes down pit road to get some repairs done on that number 83 machine. The fact that he's having to pit in the sprint race, not a good indicator of how things are going at all for the number 83 machine. Sparapani in the bright purple number 9 machine. He's worked his way up to top 5 here today. Very closely followed by Xavier Zanabe in the number 12 machine. Sparapani, he's about 0.7 seconds back from John Kasai, trying to work his way further up inside the top 5 here today, score some more points. As there's dust being kicked up all across the Red Bull ring. As you're watching a 3-car battle for 4th right now, it's John Kasai, Sparapani, and Zanave all in the mix here today. Antonio Bianchi, number 17 machine, picks up another spot, working his way into 8th, once more in that points gain position. Soto's last time by was a 126.42 compared to Zwan, who clicked off a 125.95. We may see a battle for the lead shape up in the closing laps. There's about 1 second difference between Soto and Zwan. But right now you're watching the heavily heated battle of Sparapani, Kasai, and Zanave. Sparapani has worked his way up into 4th, and he will be about 1.5 seconds back from Nick Peterson trying to get up onto the podium. Now, what I think is going to be very interesting here is we saw pit strategy play a major role with Brandon Zwan able to pick up a great performance after putting down some of the fastest laps of the race, but now he will not have that pit stop to get some clean track. He will be forced to battle with Soto once he catches up to the race leader, assuming he catches up to the race leader. But that last time by, he was about 8/10 faster than your race leader, Soto. Soto clicked off a 126.88, Zwan with a 126.04. As now Sparapani comfortably in 4th is gaining time over both Kasai and Zanave, hoping those two drivers behind him, currently running 5th and 6th, may start battling. You've got Gareth Mcallister in the bright yellow number 25 machine, down 7 spots from where he started. He's battling with Dustin Oberlo for that 12th place spot. But let's pan the camera back to Russell Soto, your race leader. As look who has caught up. Brandon Zwan in the number 96 machine is starting to get within striking distance of your race leader, less than 0.7 of a second separating Soto from Brandon Zwan. As again, no pit stop scheduled for these drivers here today. It is all guts, all glorious. Now it is a half second between Soto and Zwan. As that was a lap on board with Brennan Zwan. We're going to see when he will try and make a move and take a jab at Russell Soto, your race leader, as he pushes wide outside the curbing. Has to be careful not to upset that machine. He's trying to find as much time as he possibly can. And the other question I have is when will Soto start heavily going on the defensive, because if he's able to fend off Zwan for just a couple of short laps, that will really slow the pace of these two drivers. As last time by, Zwan put down the fastest lap of the race with a 1:25.67, less than 2/10 separating the drivers here. As here we go. Soto is gonna go into defensive mode. Nick Peterson in third place is about 4.4 seconds back. We know Zwan has the pace, but will he be able to safely make a pass on Soto? Or are we going to see the trademark F3 dive bomb come into play, where these drivers start to absolutely send it here? These guys are still holding off time over Nick Peterson. He's still about 4.5 seconds back. Aguilar comes back through pit road. He was in his stall for about 32 seconds that last time by, so he's facing heavy damage and maybe calling it a night. We'll have to keep an eye, as the Force number 83 machine having a hard time. Soto still able to hold on to the lead here. They have slowed down the pace to about mid 1:26 second lap times. That has allowed Nick Peterson to catch up to within 3.5 seconds of Brendan Zwan. So the pace is in fact getting slowed down. So if Soto can keep defending this, he may allow Peterson and possibly Sparapani to get up here. And the more drivers he can have battling with Zwan, the better his chances of bringing home a win in this sprint race are. As Brendan Zwan maybe getting a little bit flustered here, has an off-track moment, holds on to it, still within a half second of Russell Soto. But both these drivers are extremely experienced when it comes to fast, aggressive racing, doing whatever it takes to hold on to it. And most importantly, able to fend off other drivers. Here comes Soto with a major drive into turn one as he looks to the inside. Soto not having to work too hard to break the draft, opting to keep the track position. Now Peterson, oh, they make contact up front. Zwan and Soto get into each other side by side. Zwan may be able to stretch his legs here. We're going to take a look at that replay because there may be some hurt feelings after this one. Watch Brendan Zwan make a pass almost in the grass. Not sure if Soto maybe didn't know he was there. We're going to watch that one once more because that has got to be the pass of the race. Wrong driver. Here we go. We're going to watch that super slow-mo. You're watching Brendan Zwan, number 96 machine, absolutely send it up next to Soto in the number 50 machine. And look at the contact that is made here. It appears Soto may have squeezed him, not realizing how much Zwan was already on the grass. Zwan with a spectacular save and pass here. I think both drivers not realizing how close they are. Soto's going to try and stay with Brendan Zwan as best as he can. But we know Zwan has been one of the fastest drivers here tonight at the Red Bull Ring. As last time by, Zwan puts down one of the fastest laps of the race on 1:25.72. He was about 7/10 faster than Soto that last time by. As we're getting an update, we've got a 3-car battle for 11th. It's Gareth Mcallister, Dustin Oberlo, Xavier Zanave all in the mix here. As we've got Jonah Oberlo here tuning in, supporting Dustin, the pilot of the number 42 machine. Now Mcallister's been able to hold on to 11th strong here. As Oberlo sends it around, he will find himself facing the inside wall. It's get the camera back on him as he tries to make his way back out on track. Doesn't have any issues, but just tragedy and heartbreak facing so many drivers as they're pushing so hard here. As we're watching the replay of Dustin Oberlo, he was battling with Mcallister and Zanave. And as always, the commentator's curse strikes again as Oberlo will be involved in a single car incident, just hucking it around in the number 42 machine. And we've seen so many drivers have that exact same incident. Now, these F3 cars, the more you're on the gas, the faster you're going, the faster and more settled they seem to be. And once you slow down the speed, that will allow the drivers. Oh, look at this battle. It's Chase Small, Peter Redger, Brad Tritton, Daniel Vladetic, all involved here. A 4-car battle for 7th as well. Great racing all across the track. And Russell Soto, he's caught back up to Brandon Zwan for the lead as they go side by side. Just so much action across the circuit here in the sprint race as Soto and Zwan go side by side once more for the lead. We need 8 different camera angles to cover all the action. As Zwan holds onto the inside line, he's going to make Soto work hard for it. Soto not going to let it go unanswered. He goes up the inside line, retakes the lead from Brandon Zwan, but now Zwan may have the drive in the next inside corner. As they go back and forth, side to side, wheel to wheel, Soto's going to hold on to it for a little while longer. The time is not much longer here for the sprint race. So you've got major battles. You got the battle for the lead between Russell Soto and Brandon Zwan, and then you've got Trent, Redger, Vladetic all involved in a battle as well. The white flag will fly. We're going to check in once more on Vladetic, and I believe that's going to be Redger. As we're going to pan these cameras back and forth as we keep an eye on the intervals of my broadcasting software. What a absolute wild night here tonight. As the white flag flies, will Soto be able to hold on to it? As Brandon Zwan is going to fight like nobody's business to try and pick up a win here. Soto defends on the inside line. That's going to stall the drive out of Brandon Zwan. But Soto will have lap traffic to contend with. Will he be able to get through nice and quickly to bring home the win here at Red Bull Ring? I am absolutely losing it up here in the booth. Bianchi unfortunately involved in an incident as he is back in, I believe, 6th place. Appears he's going to be able to hold on to the position for a little while longer. Soto just has a few corners remaining to try and pick up a win. Brandon Zwan may do something exciting here. Maybe trying to count on lap traffic to help him out to see if it stalls Soto at all. Lap traffic hopping out of the way ever so quickly. Nick Peterson's gained a lot of time now within 1.8 seconds of your race leaders. But Soto's looking good here to pick up a win, barring any mistakes as they come around the start-finish line for the final time. Soto breaks the draft. Brandon Zwan picks up second, but it's going to be Soto with the win. Zwan second. Nick Peterson picking up the 3rd place final podium spot. Let's check on Peter Redger on the bubble for points. He's about a half second back from Brad Tritt, number 26 machine. He will pick up the final points paying position. As that was probably one of the wildest races of the season as everybody ARCA breaks into turn 1, absolutely blowing up the race car. And Nick Peterson's going to burn it down in style, number 24 machine, celebrating the podium here in the sprint race. Oh boy, that was a night here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to try and get our top 3 up into the booth. As we get our top 3 drivers up into the interview room, I'd like to once again thank you all so much that have tuned in supporting these drivers. I've got to say, probably one of my favorite broadcasts I've had the pleasure of doing. Again, this is the first time we've had the opportunity and the privilege to call the action live here for our drivers. As we're getting told we lost audio. You may have lost the on-track audio. As we're going to get our drivers up into the booth for the final time here tonight. Up first, we've got Nick Peterson picking up a third in the number 24 machine. Nick, it seemed everything went perfectly for you. A lot of clean track ahead and behind you, and it seemed maybe a little bit fortunate having to avoid some of the shenanigans we were seeing out here today.
Yeah, I definitely got pretty lucky. It was fun watching Russell and Brandon race it out in front of me.
Now, Nick, were you kind of waiting with bated breath to see if those two drivers made a mistake with how hard they were driving? Because we've seen races won or lost here before at League Zero in the final laps. And what was your thoughts watching those two go wheel to wheel?
I was definitely hoping for them to touch and maybe gain a spot or two, but oh well.
And I guess, Nick, my final question, what was the plan, what was the strategy to avoid the sprint race carnage that's kind of, I don't want to say standard, but maybe almost expected as you have the inverted grid and everybody fighting so hard for points?
I was just praying that people were going to take it clean into turn one. I think with this being the first broadcasted race, people didn't want to take each other out.
A good call. I was kind of betting the opposite, where drivers are going to be more likely to send it to try and get up on the podium. But congratulations again, man. A hard-fought podium, a great run here today in the number 24 machine. Before I let you sign off and celebrate with the rest of the hooligans, who would I like to give a shout-out to that's supporting you tonight in this season?
Well, I'd like to thank my fiance Laura and my roommates.
Well, we'd like to thank them as well for allowing you to come out and make a lot of noise and race with all your friends here tonight. Congratulations on the third here, Nick, and hope to see you do well in the remaining rounds here this season.
Thanks.
That was Nick Peterson, the number 24 machine, picking up a third place spot here today. Next, we've got Brandon Zwan, the number 96 pilot. Brandon, it seemed you had the pace all night, and then you and Soto put on an absolute spectacular performance here in the sprint race.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he knew I had a little bit of pace on him, so he was just I mean, that was a defensive driving masterclass by Russell. I just couldn't get past him, and when I did, I couldn't make it stick. Yeah, the second to last lap there, I left the door open going into the power horse, and I was like, yeah, I think I've got enough of a lead, and I saw him dive in there, and I was like, oh no, and just couldn't get past him after that.
Now, Brandon, I'm obviously an F3 novice. I've ran the cars just a couple times to get an idea what you guys are feeling for. Now, it seemed when you had that clean air, you were incredibly fast, some of the fastest laps of the race. How does the car handle when you're directly behind somebody in traffic and getting a little bit of the dirty air on the front end of your 96 machine?
Yeah, you can feel it. It understeers a bit more. It just feels a bit looser. But honestly, I think it's there's some people that say it doesn't affect the car at all. It feels like it does to me, but I think it's less the aero effect and more just the fixation on the car in front of you. Just makes it a little more difficult to drive your lines as cleanly, and you're just focused on trying to keep up with them.
Now, with just a couple of short rounds remaining, is there either one of those tracks you're particularly excited or anxious about racing in the closing two rounds?
So Bathurst is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if I'll be able to finish that race. I imagine there's going to be a lot of wrecks. It might be a little bit of chaos, but definitely going to be fun. But Interlagos has always been one of my favorite tracks, so hopefully I can find some pace there next week.
Well, awesome, Brandon. We wish you the absolute best of luck, my friend. Congratulations on a great run all throughout tonight. A strong second here in the sprint race, surviving where a lot of drivers were unable to. Before I let you sign off and celebrate, who would like to give a shout-out to, friends, family, sponsors that's helping cheering you on?
Yeah, shout out to my girlfriend Faith, who occasionally watches these. I don't think she's watching right now, though.
The one live one, Brandon. We'll send an angry tweet after the broadcast and see if we can get her on board for next week. Brandon, congratulations again. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. Say again?
I'll have to force her to watch next week.
That's right. Where it's going to be more action, more fun. Brandon, congratulations again on a second, man. Great talking to you, and great job. It was a lot of fun watching your race here today.
Thanks.
And that was Brandon Zwan finishing second in the 96 machine. And up next, the man of the hour, Russell Soto in the number 50. Russell, it seemed that the feature race just had all sorts of problems, but kind of in a role reversal, things just came together here in the sprint race, and you were able to pull off a great win after probably one of my favorite battles I've ever had the pleasure of broadcasting.
Thank you, James, and thanks for having me as well in the booth. Yeah, in the feature, seemed like everything was just going wrong, man. I mean, we didn't have as much pace as Brandon did today, who was on fire, I have to say. But we did our best, elbows out in the feature. Unfortunately, got a bit of a slowdown penalty entering the pits, just a little bit of a mistake. But it was very costly, cost 40 seconds. Was able to luckily still finish P10 for the sprint to start first, and carried it from there. Brandon was definitely on my chase, and oh man, he had all sorts of pace. So I was really just trying to keep it together, man, especially in those last closing laps.
Now, Russell, coming home from COTA last week, we showed you about 39 points ahead of Aguilar. Have you wrapped up the season, or is that still in play here?
Oh man, it's still absolutely in play. The gap actually closed because of this race, I believe, if Raymond's win in the future. Still 2 rounds to go. You know, we're still going strong with the lead in the championship, hoping to keep it up, especially going into Interlagos next week. But to finish this week on a high with the feature win, the sprint win, it's absolutely amazing. I'd like to thank SB Grand Prix and the rest of League Zero for putting on a great show tonight.
Well, you guys put on the show. I mean, that was absolutely spectacular. So I guess my final question for you, this is the first time broadcasting your events live. A lot of our viewers don't know that you race real-life open-wheel shenanigan cars. How do you think that helps you out with League Zero, or do they intertwine at all, or how does that affect you when you come out here every week?
Oh, absolutely. I've had a lot of experience with the Lucas Oil School of Racing, testing their cars, and I just recently tested FIA Formula 4 in August. And I have to say that sim racing really does help. It translates very well. It helps with the mentality aspect and pretty much getting to learn tracks very well. And I must say that my real life racing experience has definitely helped in my sim racing for sure.
Well, awesome. Russell, it's been a lot of fun doing all the broadcasts for you this season, and tonight was especially fun for me. Again, probably one of my favorite broadcasts I've had to date. Before I let you sign off and celebrate, I know all the League Zero guys get together afterwards most evenings. Who would you like to give a shout out to, friends, family, sponsors that was helping you out here today?
Absolutely. So I'd like to give a shout out to first my family, you know, my mom and dad for helping me and supporting me in my racing career. I'd like to shout out the rest of League Zero, especially my teammate Antonio, for being just a great teammate and running this whole thing very well, I have to say. And of course, you, James, as well, for putting on a great broadcast.
Well, Russell, my absolute pleasure, man. Congratulations on a hard-fought win. I'm looking forward to the remaining 2 rounds and hope to see you with your continued success, my friend.
Thanks, James. Take care.
And that was Russell Soto bringing it home in the top box of tonight's sprint race. Now, again, if you're just tuning in, the iRacing, how they set up these events, it says feature results in the top left. That is actually for the sprint race here today, where Russell Soto, Brandon Zwan, Nick Peterson put it on top. Sparapani finished 4th. John Kasai round out our top 5. And let's also give a shout out to Bruno Fajeda picking up his highest finish here tonight with the 15th. Guys, thank you all so much from across the world that tuned in, supporting your favorite drivers. Thank you to all of our league admins, our racers here tonight. A spectacular race from start to finish, feature race and sprint race alike. On behalf of LeagueZero.net, the premier Formula 3 iRacing league, as well as Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, thank you all so much. We'll see you same time, same place next week with more wheel-to-wheel action. Have a great night, everyone.